Being a dentist can be awesome. It can also be annoying, and it is all the time exhausting. What we do to help patients chew and smile with confidence is the work of the Lord G.B. Black. My name is Paul, Dr. Nacho Goodman, and I'm talking nachos. We bring you people to help you do less of this, less of crying on the inside each day. What made you cry on the inside? Your amazing team is fighting over paper towels. The insurance has reduced your fees yet again. They're throwing it back to $19.99 with what they're paying, even though the cost to run a dental practice is increasing. Sometimes you're doing a class 2 and the ring thing just flies across the room, falls on the floor. You turn to your assistant and say, "Can I have the other ring thingy?" And you look in there and there's just a mangled pita one. You say, "Perfect, this one will do." So Talking Nachos is dedicated to helping you improve your dentisting core, your mind skills, your word skills, your hand skills, at the center of all your heart. And it is okay for dentists to have fun too. So what I bring you are guests, sponsors, people in this industry doing things to help you with your morale, help you with your profitability. At the center of it all, patient-centered care. So my awesome Ariel helps me with these shows. I'm ready for my first guest whenever she is, and we will get started. Awesome. So I have a fellow dentist myself here, fellow dentist like me. Share with us what you do, Dr. Susan, and how you do things to help dentists increase their morale, have more fun in the office. We'd love to hear.
Hey, Paul, thanks for having me on. Well, I came today to talk about Smirkbox. It is the subscription box for dentists and dental enthusiasts. It's filled with full-size products that are kind of health, wellness, and smile related.
Cool.
And it's kind of like a treat for yourself as a dentist, or I have lots of dentists that are bringing them to their whole staffs, because we know like how rough it's been this past year, and staffing is always an issue.
They did something, Susan. They're like, could you take the most annoying job in the world, trying to do full contact arts and crafts, and layer in more annoyance? And the pandemic did just that. Temperature check bouncers outside of your office. It's been crazy. So I love that you bring fun to dentists. You can text Smirk to 215-543-6454 to learn more. So tell us a little about some of your past boxes. What's inside of these? What are the things dentists are going to get in their teams?
Yeah, dentists and their teams and the referrals. So it always has something with a little dental feel to it, and like 3 to 4 other products that are just about taking care of yourself. This was one of my favorites. These were in the boxes past. I'm not going to show you what's in here because this one's going out next week.
I like it.
Yeah. So this was a lip mask, which was a huge hit. People love this. My team especially loved this. We also had a product from Brick House Babe. These are resistance bands that you can travel with. So a little something to make you feel better either in the office or when you're on the go, I guess. Collapsible water bottles were a fun one too. People love these.
Water is very important. You should always just be drinking water and sleep. Sleep and drink water. I like to drink water while I'm sleeping to get ahead of the game. So I appreciate you got to stay hydrated at all times.
I love that. Only you would be able to pull that off, drinking water and sleeping at the same time. This was a fun one too. This is a lip plumper. So, and I've had some new whitening products in there. So it's kind of fun to give to your whole staff, and then everybody on the staff knows about the new whitening product. They're using it themselves, and then it's also something to market to the practice.
Awesome. And I love this thing. It's fun, but I know my dentist people, you're a dentist, and I say this word, #dentist cheap. Dentist cheap is a special level of being frugal that no one has ever seen before, right? Dentists want to save money on everything, not their crown preps. They're $2,000 works of art, but everything else. So what is the investment? If you want to bring fun to your team, to your staff, to referrals, what's the cost for the dentist to do this?
So this comes 4 times a year. It's a seasonal box that comes 4 times with a little note in it, with a little inspirational note in it too. And it's $199 for the year.
Awesome.
So it's really, really reasonable. Each box has about $200 worth of retail product in it.
That's great. I mean, these are the things that, you can do. I say, do the work while you're doing the work, have fun while you're having fun. I mean, doing these things represents so many things. It could be a great, like we talk about business toppings, patient communication toppings, just making people feel better. So I think that's such a great way to have consistent touches with people that you care about. Tell us the story of like who's using this now? Are specialists sending this to their GPs? Are GPs sending it to patients? All of the above? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, all of the above. I have dentists buying it for themselves. I have teams buying it for their dentist. I have a lot of dentists that are buying it for their whole teams. We ship them all to the office, and they have a luncheon once a quarter where they all open their boxes together. And it's just a way to show that they're appreciated. Makes everybody kind of feel good. And I do have some dentists that are sending them out to their referral, some specialists that are sending out to their referring docs now, which I think is a great idea too.
Awesome. Love that. Well, thanks, Susan. We have your text code here, but also if someone wanted to reach out to you directly to learn more about Smirkbox, bringing fun to their office, how could they do that?
We are on smirkbox.online is our website, or you could info@smirkbox.online.
Awesome. Well, perfect. Hang around for the show. Thanks so much for sharing. Love the fun part of Smirkbox. So see, this is what you do, dentists. We got to go to work. You may as well make it as much fun as possible. Bring more joy, laughter. It's okay to your dental office. So I'm ready for our next guest whenever Ariel is ready to bring our guest up. Awesome. So I have a fellow dentist here. It's a dentist themed show. Dr. Tom, he does one of my favorite things. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but what he does for dental offices is literally one of the best things I have done for my office over the past few years. Dr. Tom, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. So like you, I love dentistry, and having the patients come in and talk to them and building those relationships is it's amazing. A couple of years ago, one of the major insurers was giving us a tough time, saying they're going to be reducing our reimbursements. And so I wasn't going to be able to practice the great dentistry that we were looking for.
Pause you for a second, Tom, because I think this is important.
Yeah.
So how long have you been a dentist for?
13 years.
So 19 for me.
Okay.
So only dentists. So I love a lot of things about dentistry. I love doing cases that I like to do. I love seeing patients that with me. But what I don't love is spoils guac PPO, reducing full contact arch and crafts fee. And what we should just embrace is, where else do people have their fees lowered without their control when the cost to do the thing has gone up? I've said many times, go home to whoever loves you, your spouse, your dog, your couch, and say, I'm going to love you 20% less next year, and see how that works. That's really what happened to us, right?
Exactly. And that's what, we figured there's a better way. And so that's why we started Cirrus Dental. It's the best subscription program out there. We have features that no one else have, and we're making a more efficient model. And that's what it's all about, creating more efficiencies in the office.
Now, just in case people are tuning in, sometimes we have like 1-2 million people watching at once. It goes viral. If you can help it go viral, that'd be helpful. But if they're just like, what is a membership plan? Tell us what a membership plan does. Just tell us, we have multiple people who do this in our group. There's room for everyone to succeed. But just from the basics of a membership plan, if people want to put this in their office next month, what does it do?
So it's basically, when you think about it's Netflix or it's Amazon Prime for the dental office.
Gotcha.
You go out and you say, what are the things that people want? They want cleanings, they want x-rays, they want exams. Right. And so those known things, you include those in a membership program. What do people fear about dentistry? They fear the cost. And so you give them a known cost, something that's very budgetable and easy for them to put into their budget.
Gotcha.
And the great thing is that when you do this, it allows you a lot of opportunities. One, if you're a new dentist, you can bring in new patients by offering something that's innovative and great for those patients to make something affordable. If you're a mid-career dentist and you're thinking, I've got a lot of patients, the PPOs are killing me, this is a way to offer something better to your patients. And give them something valuable. And if you're an end-stage dentist where you're looking to transition, one of the scariest things for someone buying a practice is thinking about who's going to be remaining when I transition into this new practice. Well, if you've got a membership program, those patients are committed to the practice month after month, creating that known revenue stream.
Now, you guys have both a monthly option and a yearly option for patients. Tell us a little bit now about how Cirrus works inside of an office.
So Cirrus is the platform to allow the dental office to be able to create the membership program. And so we provide the software to do that. We transfer the funds. And so a dental office can come to us and they create the plan of what they want. We have programs to help them, guide them through that to figure out what they want to include in it. And we train their front desk staff as to how to educate the patients and how to sign up the patients for this.
Now, our people, and this is one of the themes. Hashtag dentist cheap. So they say, why can't I do this myself? Even though they don't make their own bite rims, right? Even though they're not mounting their own models at night, they say, I want to just get a piece of paper and write down my membership club plan. Unrelated to your specific product, Dr. Tom, where does this become a problem in keeping track of this yourself? Because the success will cause stress for your front desk team. But I know you're doing this every day. Share with us the challenges of doing this yourself and not using a platform like yours.
Well, number one, just to get started, you have to start investigating your state insurance laws. And so that's a $20,000 to $40,000 chunk right there. Number two, there's training your staff and figuring out how are you going to track all these people? Are you going to be sending out bills every month? And then, that's more money in terms of postage. It's your staff kind of scratching their head saying, did this person pay? Did they not pay? And that's where our platform comes in. We charge $2 a month per patient. It's the best deal out there, bar none. In addition to that, we have other premium features. One of the things that people are looking for is a way to pay for dental care. And so we have a nest egg feature, which is basically a savings account that people can put funds into. And then when they need or want anything, whether or not it's a crown or root canal, or if they want whitening or veneers, the nest egg is there to cover those services.
You could put your veneers on layaway. That was from my childhood. Layaway. I was always going to places Best. Anyone been to Best? That went out of business, that place. But this is Dr. Nacho Bobblehead. So he asked how much things cost. I think you said it. $3 a month per patient. So if you have 100 patients on in a month, you're paying $3,000 a month. 1,000 patients, 100 patients, you're paying $300 a month. So you're just paying per patient per month for using this service.
Exactly. And if you take 100 patients, a relatively easy number for a dental office to get, and take those people from Blue Cross and bring them into Cirrus, your office can easily make $20,000 or more a year. So, if you're struggling with how are you going to pay your hygienists in this market, this is a great way to do that. Or if, you want to give bigger bonuses to your staff, or keep it for yourself. It's really a great.
And what I think is important is we all, you place implants, you change implant companies, do composites, you use different ones. The key is to understand why membership programs are so valuable, then also understand what Cirrus offers. I've used multiple ones in my own practice, but I would never go back to not offering it. And what I think, Dr. Thomas, wrap up, it's really like everybody loves Costco, and you need the membership to go to Costco. So you used Amazon Prime and Netflix, which are also good. So I actually I'm just sharing, I want to create an office where this is the only way we have patients pay for things, is the membership club, because it bonds them to the office, to use a dental term. When there's a discount on future procedures that you control, unlike spoiled guac PPO, it's not dental insurance. I know we'll do a deeper dive one day into why you can't say it's dental insurance and things like that. But I love the value shared. If people want to reach out to you, how can they reach out to learn about getting signed up, have their office manager take a demo? What's the best way for them to do that?
If they go to mycirrusdental.com, which is mycirrusdental.com, they can learn more there. Or call me at 301-379-5860. That's another way to reach us. And we have a special offer just for Dental Nachos members, where if they sign up after they get their first 3 members, their first 3 months of Cirrus are no charge.
Oh, that's great. Look at that. Special. That's what people say to me when I wake up. My wife especially. Lucky to know you, Paul. Just joking, doesn't say that. But I hope she said it. So just for being a Dental Nachos member, one of the things that just struck me as we were talking is I feel that there's a way and maybe you would even have to get some of your other membership club collaborators / competitors, but I feel like dental schools should use this, because I think that they would be able to get more patients to do more work and get the students to get more reps and more experience if they embrace this newer model of getting patients to pay for stuff. So I think you should start talking to dental schools about it.
Definitely, yeah. And I think we're the most efficient out there. There's no one who's got lower fees and has more services than us. We are the premium outlet. I
think you can just get big groups, maybe whether they're DSOs or dental schools, to really understand. And this raises the game for everyone, because when people are doing care outside of traditional insurance, it's a different feel. It just is a different conversation. It's a different feel. And I think it's more fun for everybody. And also everybody loves a discount. So thanks so much, Dr. Tom. Hang around here. Really appreciate you sharing with us. So we talked about Smirkbox, talked about membership plans. I'm ready for my next guest here on Talking Nachos with me, Dr. Nacho. That's me. If you want to be a guest on Talking Nachos, you can just text SALSA to 215-543-6454, and we'll talk about being a guest, how you can share your story here on Dental Nachos TV. It's a real channel in my heart. So Ariel, you can bring up your next guest. Perfect. So I have another Dr. Tom Arndt, who also is helping battle spoiled guac PPO. Dr. Tom's been a sponsoring guest on previous shows, just like our other guest here today. So Dr. Tom, tell us what you do.
Well, Dr. Nacho, thanks for having me.
Sure.
I help dentists to get out of PPOs without losing all their patients, slow themselves down a little bit, have more fun, do more of their best dentistry, make more money, and work at least one less day per week than they were before that all started happening.
I like that. I like you can use, we kind of have a lot of shared thoughts. I start off lectures. I say, hey, who here's a dentist? Who wants to be happier, make more money? Keep your hand up. Who wants to work more? And 100 hands go down at once. So I like that you lead with that. Tell us a little bit about, you are getting dentists to do, Dr. Tom, what they don't like to do. Make a change. Have things be different. So what is one of your success stories? Because I know you have a lot. Through your GEMS program, where you say, hey, I got somebody to make this change, relinquish their relationship with PPOs in some way, and now they're living their best dentistry life.
So that's a great question, and I'm not going to be answering that for you today.
No
I
problem.
know you emailed me and said, come up with somebody, and I've been doing this for 21 years, as you can tell from my voice, which is a permanent problem with my voice, but you know what? Still having a great time doing it. And so instead of just telling you about hundreds of dentists or even one of them from the last 21 years, I decided to give you something you can actually take actionably and use right now.
Sure, I like that.
So it's going to be 8 gems in 7 minutes for a $250,000 increase in simple crown and bridge.
I like that.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Number one, do the math. If you added just one quadrant, 3 or 4 crowns or implants or whatever it happens to be, but you're working one quadrant, you prep it, and then you place it the next time. If you added just one quadrant a week more than you're currently doing, let's say it was $5,000, that's $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you're a solo doc and you're already doing $1.5, $2 million, $3 million, you're probably prepping multiple quadrants in the week. So maybe you don't need this, but if you're not doing several quadrants a week, but you are comfortable doing quadrant dentistry and just want to get, how do you get more? Then we go to number 2. First thing is, who's the person in your practice who's doing the diagnosis saying, yeah, Mrs. Jones, these 4 teeth need XYZ, and who's actually talking to the patient about it? If it's the doctor, they think you need a new Mercedes. And if they're asymptomatic, your conversion rate, your acceptance rate is going to be pretty low. We suggest, and what we do is we train the hygienist, and the hygienist then basically says, look, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose. I can't treatment plan, but I've been with Dr. Nacho for 8 years now, and I can tell you exactly what he's going to say when he walks in the room, and then they go into their whatever it is that they're going to do. So they've got graphics, they've got verbal skills, which takes me into number 3, which is create a system and train your team, train your hygiene team and the assistants on a series of graphics and verbal skills. What would you say to this patient who is asymptomatic, so that by the time the doctor does walk in the room, and you got to do that verbal skill training, not every week, maybe once every month or 2, but it needs to be done outside of patient time.
For sure.
So set aside some time when you're in your practice to work on your practice. And for our guys, we recommend a minimum of 30, preferably 90 minutes a week, just working on different things in the practice to improve them. Slow down and do better, do less dentistry. Do more better dentistry, but less crazy busyness.
Yeah.
You won't be the crying dentist on your, I love your stick figure, by the way. That's
beautiful. Beautiful artwork. But what we do, I'm a high level artist, fee for service artist here.
It's amazing. That looked like a DSO artist. But anyway. So the next thing, number 4, and this comes from Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky said, and everybody knows this, he said, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. You miss 100%. So if you believe in your heart that this would be best for the patient, this being those 3 or 4 teeth in that quadrant and doing whatever that is, whether it's crowns or implants or whatever they need, if that's what you believe they need, then set aside insurance from your mind for a moment. Set aside whether you think the patient could afford it. Set aside what you even think the patient's reaction is going to be, and just make the suggestion. If you do this consistently and you have a systematic way of doing it, you will see acceptance.
Awesome.
Our guys typically see a minimum of 1 per dentist per week, and you're talking about a quarter of 1 patient because that's only 1 quadrant. Many of our guys are doing multiple quadrants a week, whereas before they were doing 1 and 2 tooth dentistry, whatever their insurance would cover.
Right.
Number 5, Cialdini, Dr. Robert Cialdini, his contrast principle is amazing. If you start recommending quadrants, and let's say that quadrant is $5,000, and let's say Mrs. Jones says, I had no idea it was going to be that much. I know I got to get something done. I'm really concerned about those teeth because Mary told me this, but the 5,000, even with a payment plan, I can't do it. Then the contrast principle says, then drop down to 2 teeth. And which of the 2 do you think are more important? Maybe it's the 2 molars because of the fulcrum and where all that pressure happens. We don't want those 2 teeth to crack.
Yeah.
And so you drop down to 2, whereas you were probably going to do 1. Now you're doing 2 or 4 as opposed to 1.
John Coyce would say it was very similar. Why do they sell Rolexes in the airport? To make the other watches seem less expensive. So it's just a really good frame for people to have choices. So I think that's really a great point there. And I think, Tom, as you go through, you should teach this to DSOs and dental schools so we can bond them all together. There's some DSOs doing great work out there, so they could use your help. So we'll be glad to connect you. They sound like great principles for the dental student to the dentist practicing for 43 years to use.
You're right. You're right. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're a dentist and you're still practicing, whether you're 36 or 63, you can apply this. Number 6 is another one of the uses of Cialdini's contrast principle, and that is the doctor isn't necessarily getting into fees. You know, this is exactly this and this is exactly that, and they shouldn't work out the payment plans. But before I leave the room, I want to at least give a ballpark so that I don't walk out of the room and leave my team to talk to the patient who says, yeah, I wanted to do that. And they find out how much it was. And they said, I can't possibly do that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So before leaving the room, just give a ballpark. If I think it's going to be $5,000, I'm not going to say 5,000. If in my head I say, okay, these 4 teeth, that's about 5. What I'm going to do is increase it 10 or 15% in my mind. So I'm going to go to, let's say, 5,500 or so. And then I'm going to get a range up from that. So if I know it's 5,000 in my head, I'm going to say, Mrs. Jones, I don't know exactly. Isabel's going to put it into the computer in a minute for you, but I can tell you roughly you're looking at 5,500, maybe 6,000. She'll work it out. She'll put it in the computer, and I'm sure she'll work out something that's comfortable for you. Now, having said that, they go out to Isabel afterwards. She puts it into the computer, and she says, I see Dr. Arndt made a note that he said it was somewhere between 55 and 6,000. Actually, he was doing that in his head, and he was off by a bit. And then she pauses because, of course, the patient's thinking it's going to be more. And then she says it was actually 5,000. And in fact, many of our patients appreciate and take advantage of the prepayment courtesy. It would save you 5%, which would be $250 off of that. So it'd actually be $4,750 if you'd like to take advantage of that. So bear in mind, they heard 55 to 6,000, but they heard the 6,000. That's the last thing they heard. And now we're down to $4,750 for the same case because we use a contrast principle twice. We're up to number 8 because I know I don't have much time left.
That's good. These are great tips.
Well, you gave me 7 or 8 minutes, so I'm giving you 8 tips in 7 minutes. Number 8. All of this will work. If you deploy exactly what I just said, it will work. With every patient, of course not, but with more patients than you're currently doing quadrant dentistry on. The only way it'll work is if you have multiple ways that they can pay for it over time. One of the things that we train our members on is internal long-term financing. In fact, I think I wrote about that in your forum about 4 months ago. In a lot of detail. So internal long-term financing, it can be done while mitigating the risk. It can be done while looking at all the numbers and titrating it to exactly how much risk you want to take. But to step away from internal long-term financing, last night we were doing a mastermind with my Freedom Summit members, and one of our members, Monica Capelli, shared a huge thing that I had never heard about. So I'm going to share it with you and give her credit.
Awesome.
Credit where credit was due. She said that in addition to doing internal long-term financing, and of course, they had been using Care Credit, but Care Credit's good, but the fee is very high to the dentist, and Care Credit has to be very careful. So they actually turn down a fairly high percentage of the patients who you send. So I said to Monica, well, what did you find that you're finding it even more helpful than Care Credit? And she said, we're now using Proceed Finance. It's PROCEED, Proceed Finance and Sunbit Financing. And she said that those guys are way more amenable to working with people with lower credit scores, and they charge the patient reasonable rates, and they charge the dentist.
Sunbit is an awesome sponsor of our group. One of the things like financing companies, just like restaurants in Philadelphia, not all of them are designed to have 2 kids under the age of 7 like mine in it. So each financing company comes in different flavors. I find they embrace their business models and do what they want to do. So those are awesome 8 tips, Tom. If someone is inspired to do this, not miss the shots they don't take. I hope there's a NBA Senior League for me one day. How can they reach out to you to do that?
Okay, so I'm so glad you asked that. If they want to reduce their dependence on PPOs and add $250,000 a year, work one day less, and find a whole lot of ways to do that pretty simplistically, pretty easily, I have actually set aside some time in my schedule to speak with you personally,
Awesome.
Talk to you about the practice. We'll be on the phone for about an hour. If at the end of that, I think that I could be of help, we can talk about how that might look. If not, I'll do whatever I think I could do for you, which would serve you best.
Great.
Regardless, that 60 minutes is going to be the best 60 minutes you put into your practice. And they can find my schedule at Freedom Summit Coaching. That's freedomsummitcoaching.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. You're a great resource. You bring some spicy toppings up on the group. We appreciate your sponsorship and friendship. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you, Paul.
Awesome, guys. So we're gonna have one more guest and have our round table, and I'm super excited for this guest. I got to meet her in person when we went to Miami, Katrina, the wine genist. So we saved the fun for our finale here. Tell us, who are you and what does the wine genist do or mean?
Hi, Dr. Nacho. I am honored, humbled, grateful to be here. And I'm going to premise this by saying that if I'm anything in the nachos, I'm the guac because I'm extra. No, I'm kidding.
I like that.
But yes, I am the dental wine hygienist. I am a practicing dental hygienist here in gorgeous Phoenix, Arizona. And I work for a large group specialty practice in periodontics, which is an absolute thrill and an honor. And part of why my brand built and developed itself the way that it did is because, first of all, I am a wine enthusiast and a level 1 sommelier.
I know some people like that. Some of them live in my house, some of them are me, but you know.
There you go. Who doesn't love a gorgeous glass of wine, especially after working a day in dentistry, right? Like we all need it, right? Yeah. But the idea being, when I started my work and in my brand, I realized that if you gave everybody in the room a glass of wine, we sipped it together, that we could have really provocative conversations about the things in dentistry that maybe we need to be talking about. I think we need to stop sweeping some of these challenges that we're experiencing under that front office rug and really start to expose what's going on, because at the end of the day, the work that we do, we can talk all day about insurance companies and case acceptance, and all of those things are challenges and barriers that can get in the way of us doing the work that we are called and compelled to do. I believe everybody in dentistry truly went to dental and dental hygiene school because we really do want to help people.
Yeah, sure.
And so there's nothing more frustrating or easy to burn us out, rather, than when we get into these situations or scenarios where we acknowledge that we can't do that amazing work, whether it be finances, whether it be patient attitude, values, perceptions, or beliefs, or any type of an insurance company declining or downgrading our insurance or, our coverage because they believe that that's appropriate. So the dental wine hygienist is a provocative brand.
I love that. And when we had a chance to talk in Arizona, I really like how you reframe some of the conversation. So you're working in a perio office. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with new patients and how you're trying to retrain the brains of maybe the dentist themselves, maybe the patient, but just try to be this, hey, it doesn't have to be this way it used to be. We're going to talk about this. I really found that interesting from our conversation. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I have a relatively different position in our perio office. I work alongside the doctors. So I do not see perio maintenance or prophy cases. I see all of doctors' new patients that come into the practice. We found that periodontists would rather drill into gum tissue and bone and futz around with sinuses versus probing a new patient. Yeah. So as a hygienist, I am the first face that the patient, first half of the face, I guess, that the patient sees when they come into the practice. And I walk through a process of care that helps educate the patient on the why. The patient walks through comprehensive medical history evaluation, and we help them understand why they needed to fill out all of that paperwork in the reception area to begin with. We walk through their medications, their supplements, to better understand why they're on these medications or supplements. We also ask them about their genetic history. Any member of your family ever lose a tooth to gum disease? Any member of your family experiencing stroke, heart disease, diabetes, upper respiratory tract infection, certain types of cancers? And so ultimately what we're doing is we're taking patients who are presenting to a perio office because they were told that they have a pocket on one tooth. Right. And we're helping to bring that patient through understanding that we're medical providers, we're healthcare providers, and that deep pocket that you have on that tooth is leaching bacteria into your bloodstream, circulating through your body and targeting your vital organs. Now, I don't mean to say this to scare our patients, but I implore you all to consider that even now, as we're practicing still through a global health crisis, that our patients are a captive audience. Right. They sat and watched on the news as certain individuals experienced an elevated risk for this virus. They watched as certain, high-risk populations, inflammatory conditions, age, for example, elevated that risk. And they also understand that this virus, you can be a relatively asymptomatic carrier. So now more than ever, I think the work that we do is so much more impactful, and patients are beginning to understand a lot of the layers that, Dr. Tom earlier on had said, as far as how do you get a patient to move forward with care when it is asymptomatic?
Is periodontal care, there's so many different philosophies that even periodontists struggle over, hygienists struggle over. we're going through, like you said, this pandemic crisis where new information is coming out all the time, and people should rely on their doctor's opinion, not necessarily Facebook's opinion or your friend's opinion in a group. And we as dentists have seen how this has caused problems. Facebook groups in towns have passed around information around dentistry that's just flat out inaccurate. So if we can just champion, a different dental experience that's more comprehensive, and whatever that looks like for you, to design that for your own practice. What I think is great, Katrina, is people probably really value getting that experience with you before they get a cleaning, before they get work done. Even as cliche as it sounds, you don't get a second chance at a first impression. So what I imagine and compliment your team as, they get this awesome opportunity with you to share their story, probably make complaints. When you're at a periodontist office, usually it doesn't mean everything has gone well in your mouth. You're not like an 18-year-old with like all ones and twos. So
that's right.
I know you do so many different things. You lecture, you do things. If someone just wants to connect with you to find out more about what the wine genist does, I also found this interesting. Brandon and I are watching. When you're a sommelier and you took all the courses, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You have to learn about things besides wine too. What else do you have to learn about?
Yeah, so my certification is through the Court of Master Sommeliers. So it is a wine expertise for sure. And they focus a lot on wine, but you also learn about beer, spirits, and cigars as well, which is kind of interesting. And as you'd probably suspect, I was the only dental professional in the room taking this exam. Everybody else was like, pouring at high-end steak rooms and all that jazz. So
Ariel's going to DM you to find out how she can get that job, right?
There you go.
So,
it's very cool.
How can people reach out to you one more time? Then we're going to bring everybody back on who's still here. How can they
Absolutely.
reach out to you?
Yeah. So find me. You can find me online. My website is www.katrinasanders.com. You can also find me on social media at The Dental Wine Genist. And you can also email me, katrina@katrinasanders.com.
Awesome. Love that, Katrina. Thanks so much for sharing. You guys share some spicy toppings. I always like to bring in new ideas. Doesn't mean they're always reflect. Just like a talk show where it says these ideas don't always reflect Dental Nachos approved ideas. It just means that I want people to share more, have uncomfortable conversations, learn about stuff. So we're just going to go around and wrap up with this. One, I want you to tell the audience how they could connect with you if they want to get a Smirkbox membership plan, PPO, Wine Genist. But what's one thing you learned from someone else today? What's one thing you found interesting? What's one thing you didn't know exist? What's one thing you say, I'm going to go and do this, but it can't be about you. It's got to be about one other person here. Susan, I'll start with you.
Okay. First of all, I want to say I've been using Tom Oren's Ultimate Concierge for about 5 years. Love it.
Love that.
He's doing an awesome job with that. Thank you, Tom. And Katrina, can't wait to learn more about the Wine Genist. Look for us. We'll be there.
Yay!
And other Tom, I love a membership plan, and we have one here, and I'm going to take a peek at yours. But if anyone wants to subscribe to Smirkbox, send it to your referrals, send it to your team, smirkbox.online, or Dr. Susan at wowinsmile.com is my personal email, or info@smirkbox.online. You can get us there too. Thanks.
Love that. Thanks, Susan, for saying hey. Dr. Tom Cleary, tell us a little something you learned today by being on Talking Nachos.
I learned that the Smirkbox, I think, is great. After we do big cases, we generally send our patients a thank you package, and I think that'll really be a good thing that I'm going to look into.
I actually, and I'm such a time person. I don't know if Kate's watching, so we've done the same thing, Tom. And I'm thinking, go to Harry and David, get the moose munch. But I kind of send my team on these weird errands that probably are so counterproductive. They're like looking up fruit by the foot or something. So, so thanks so much. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's Dr. Tom Oren, you share with us one thing you learned today.
First of all, I'd never heard of a wine genist before. I thought that was awesome. And Katrina, while you were speaking, I went over to another screen and I'm typing in Katrina Wine Genist, trying to come up with the spelling. And I will tell you, I only had to put in a quarter of it and popped up on the screen. So there it is, the Dental Wine Genist, the tribe, a group of passionate. This is great. One thing I love that you said, and I'm going to focus on you because you hit a chord with me, which was great. You said that I like to start conversations that people typically in dentistry are not having because they tend to sweep them under the rug, put them aside. I have those conversations one-on-one. This is the calls that we have one-on-one with docs. And I'll tell you that Dr. Nachos, you've said it. There's so much crying on the inside and sometimes it's on the outside. And they don't want to talk to anybody local about it. The worst thing you can do is go to a local dental society meeting. So I love that you brought that up. I think that there's so many things in life where people don't want to share the truth about the way they're living and the way they're thinking and how badly they feel. And in dentistry, I think it's as bad, if not worse, than a lot of other professions because of the level of stress and responsibility. So thank you for bringing that up.
Awesome. Love that. And we'll wrap up with you, Katrina.
Oh, awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Nacho, for the esteemed honor of being here and being a part of this. This is phenomenal. Again, my name is Katrina Sanders. If you want to reach me, www.katrinasanders.com, or you can always find me on social media at The Dental Wine Genist. Susan, I loved your term smile enthusiast. Yeah. I'm like, am I a smile enthusiast? I guess I am. So I absolutely loved that. And both Dr. Toms, who are on here today, thank you so much for sharing your insight, because I think it's so important as a hygienist to really immerse in what some of the challenges are that our doctors are experiencing. I am a business owner and a dental hygienist, but there are not a lot of hygienists that understand that. And so being here and being witness to some of the things that you think about when you're delivering a treatment plan to a patient, and the things you hold yourself back from because of fears of wanting case acceptance and not case failure, or some of the concerns that you have about arguing with your third-party payers about getting coverage, which is so absurd to me, by the way, that we're still dealing with that in 2021 and beyond. So thank you for sharing your insights on that, because it's really insightful. And I think for all the hygienists that are listening, please take the time to understand what the challenges are that your doctors are having, because at the end of the day, we are part of that. We are part of the team, and we have an opportunity to make an impact in the practice as well.
Love that wrap up. We're here to have authentic and awesome conversations. You guys hang around. Facebook crew, we'll see you guys soon. If you want to be on Talking Nachos, just text salsa to 215-543-6454.